Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing? Hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully the audio and everything is bad. But we should be live on the podcast this evening. Of course, it's 6 o'clock now. We're pretty much we're 23 hours in advance. We're 23 hours. We 24 hours ago, of course. I'm trying to get my words out. 23 hours ago, of course, Oxford United played against Bristol Rovers. Woke Realist in the chat says hello. It says, yo, how are you doing, my friend? How are you doing? Everybody, please get in the comments and get in the live chat as well. I'll be reading out all of your thoughts and all of your comments in the live chat this evening. It's going to be quite a good one as well. Hopefully you like what's going on. Hopefully the audio and all of that sort of thing is okay. I can turn it down slightly if it is a little bit too loud. Matthew says, hello, mate. I'm so... just got to get ready to surrounded. We haven't done a live show. We did a live show, obviously, for the Doncaster game. But the thing is that we're going to go on a bit of a tangent already. But the thing with that one was, I think I was a bit down. I was a bit upset because we'd lost the game, and the actual podcast, the actual same day one that we didn't really go down very well. It didn't ever go up as a video, and then we did one sort of the day later, and that one did. So that was a really, really difficult one, but hopefully everything is okay. Please do tell me if there's no lag, and hopefully everything's okay. But Matthew says, hello, my friend. How are you doing, Matthew? If you watch the game, and that's the same with Woke Realist as well as in the chat, please, both of you, give your thoughts as well. Share the podcast, and I'll be intrigued to see if how you're all doing. I'm watching it now, and I think everything seems to be okay. As well. Welcome to the Young Fan Podcast this evening. It is a Wednesday evening, and Oxford United 23 hours ago kicked off the game in which they did go on and win in League One. We've got 6 people in there right now. Please do leave a like as well. I really would appreciate it if all of you could leave a like and subscribe if you're new as well. Woke says, I've got a feeling Barker is going to do the job this season, close to what Roof has done to get promoted. Woke, you have started me off here with a fantastic conversation. I appreciate this because you're spot on. Brandon Barker off the bench last night, and Elliot Lee as well. As you can see on the screen, this is on that side of the... that side, there we go. That side of the screen, you can see the starting lineup we went with. We made one change of goals from the team that played against Doncaster on the Saturday. We made some changes, but I'm going to call you Woke, my friend. Hopefully that's okay with you. I don't know. Hopefully it's okay with you. I am going to call you that just to make it easier for everyone. If you do want me to call me your full name, then just let me know. But we're going to go with Woke. And what you said about Brandon Barker is absolutely spot on. Him off the bench, he didn't start, and I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit concerned when he didn't start. And when we did start with Shodipo, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really know what we were going to get with starting Shodipo, because I do feel Shodipo is much more effective off the bench. However, I've got to be honest, when Barker came off the bench, you saw that quality, and you can see, and I said when I was watching the game as well, I said it then, and I made sure that I'd say it now as well. Brandon Barker is a player. Woke says yes, that's fine. Thank you very much, friend. Shodipo is a player that definitely is so effective off the bench. But Brandon Barker, when he comes on, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, and I'm happy to go this far because I think he's a quality player. I'm happy to go and say that I think Brandon Barker is a championship level and maybe even a Premier League level. Though it's a big statement, I don't actually go and say he's probably a Premier League level player. And I know we've only seen we've pretty much seen, obviously, with pretty much the two halves. We haven't even seen a full game of him yet. But he is, he's just said there, Barker hasn't even got started. He's going to be fired, 100%, my friend. And I think you're spot on. He hasn't even got started yet. He hasn't played... he hasn't started a game and played 90 minutes yet. We're only really seeing glimpses of Brandon Barker. But what we're seeing of him is absolute quality. Because someone in the chat right now, if you could, there's 7 people in here, please do leave a like and subscribe as well. Welcome this evening to the podcast live. If you could, just tell me if the audio and all of that's okay, just so that, this will be going up as a video as well. So if you are watching this as a video and you're watching this back as a video of the podcast, welcome. Do leave a comment as well if you're watching this as a video, so I will be replying to the comments as well. Tom Merrill says he seems like a West Brom sort of player, that level. 100%, Tom. I think you're 100% correct there, and welcome to the stream. I think you're right. I do think Brandon Barker can play Premier League, and I don't want him to go. I don't want him to sort of fall off the end of a cliff or anything like that. His form drop off and he'd be completely useless for the rest of the season. But I've got the confidence in Brandon Barker. I think he can be very, very good, and he is very, very. But I think he can play at a very, very high level, and I think he's really, really effective. The pace, the dribbling, the way that he plays, is absolutely fantastic. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself, and everyone in the chat right now saying, Woke being one of them, and Matthew as well. I'll read your comment, I'll read your live chat in a second, but what we're sort of sensing, and what the real sense is here from all the fans, and well, not all of them, but from the majority of fans, is we're very, very excited with Brandon Barker, and we're very, very excited to think what he can offer and what he can bring to this team. So no, I'm very, very excited with Brandon Barker. I'm really, really excited to see what he can bring to the club, and like Woke said earlier on in the stream, I think he's a player that can definitely take us to the next level, and take us hopefully into the playoffs, which is something that we'll be talking about as well. And I'm really loving the interaction already, and I'd be interested to see where you think we can go with this team as well. We'll catch up then. So Barker has him starting. Matthew says all the new signings are going to push us to that extra bit to get promoted this season. I honestly think our morale is so high, we honestly have a chance. I think we have more than a chance, Matthew. I think we really do have more than a chance, and I have to agree with you 100%. I think we've got a unit and we've got a team, and I know I was a little bit down. I know I was a little bit frustrated after that Doncaster game, but I think the reason why we're very frustrated, the reason why I was a little bit down after that Doncaster game, was I think because we've been on a great run. We played some really good football, and we didn't even play badly against Doncaster. We just didn't get the result that we knew that we can. So I understand I understand, and that's why I feel like I didn't get a really good match reaction from it. And this one will be better, not just because we won the game, but I think I'm really sort of sensing that thing of there's lots of elements of that game last night that I was really, really impressed with. And like Matthew says as well, we've got a really good chance. And it is part of the podcast title. Promotion is back on, and I even after the Doncaster game, I wouldn't want to say that it was off. I saw some fans say that promotion now isn't possible. I think that's a lot of rubbish. I think Doncaster are a great side. I don't want to get too much in Doncaster. That was in the last episode, but you've got to be honest, and we've got to be honest and say that Doncaster are where they are in the league table for a reason. They're having a very, very good season, and I don't think we can get caught up in that too much. And I wouldn't want to go and say that everything's over and and it's finished or anything like that. We can't go and say that. Doncaster are a very, very good side, but last night I think the best way of putting it is we got the job done, and I think that's what we'll go with there. Woke there says Lee will be vital too. Looks like a fighter, 100%. I'm really, really impressed with Elliot Lee. Started obviously in that right hand side. I don't really see him as a winger. I don't see him as a winger. I'm happy to play him there. I'm not like don't play him on that right hand side. I don't think that's true at all. I think he's a winger. That definitely can work on that right hand side. I wouldn't class him as a winger. I'd say that he's very, very good on that right hand side, but he doesn't offer. It does not offer. He offers many things, but he's not that winger. That sort of. I think the stereotype of a winger really is that quick player with really, 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 really quick, very, very agile. I'd say Brandon Barker's a very, very, I don't know what a better way of putting it. He's a very much stereotype winger. When I think winger, I think a player like Brandon Barker. Whereas I think Elliot Lee is a little bit, he finds those runs inside. He's not slow by any means, and he's very, very good on the ball, but he's very, very, very clinical as well. We saw that finish from him last night. That finish is exquisite, and if you haven't watched the goals or you watched the game, whatever, if you go watch that goal back, that finish is absolutely perfection. You will not get it. I promise you, you'll not see many more finishes like that. It was a quality finish. Matthew Wilson says Rangers fans seem to say that Barker's consistency is a problem. Hopefully that isn't an issue for us. And I'm glad you've pointed that out, Matthew. Welcome to the stream, Matthew Wilson. And I'm glad you pointed that out because I do understand, when I go out and say these things about him being a Premier League footballer, about him, playing at that top level. I say that from what I'm seeing at the moment and what I see of these glimpses. And like we said earlier in the stream and earlier in the podcast, we aren't seeing him playing 90 minutes week in, week out. And Rangers fans would have done, and people at Rangers would have seen him play that, that amount of football. And their inconsistency/consistency, that whole thing. That's obviously very, very easy for them to see because they're seeing him a lot more. When we're seeing glimpses in his second game or, his second spell, not spell, but I mean his second involvement in Oxford United, in these last two games, what we are seeing is a really, really good player. So, yeah, hopefully consistency is good. To be honest with you, the reason why I think we will see sort of that consistently, hopefully the way that we can find that consistency really is Carl Robinson using his squad, because I think Carl Robinson, as much as at the start of the season we were saying we need to find we need to find that consistent lineup. But hopefully, if we can see Barker come off the bench every now and again, if we can see him start games, and I do think Barker should be starting at left wing, and then obviously Shodipo off the bench, because I really do prefer Shodipo playing off the bench and coming on with that raw pace. But no, you mentioned the consistency there. That's a really, really fair point. But hopefully he can stay consistent for Oxford United for as long as possible, because I think when we do find that consistency, and when he does, he's got the consistency at the moment from what we're seeing. He looks very, very, very lively. But if he can keep the consistency that he's going, and he can sort of keep hold of consistency at Oxford United while he's here for the second half of the season, I think that's something to be really, really hopeful about. And I think if he can do that, I think we can go anywhere. And I mean that. I don't think, anywhere is a bit, I don't think we're going to go and win the league. I don't think anyone should go out and be saying that. I think that is going too far. But in terms of where we want to be, and I think we can all agree, we want to be in the playoffs. We want to be in the chance to go up next season. Go up this season into the Championship. And for that to happen, we're going to need players with that flair, with that spark. And I think Brandon Barker's got that. And I think Elliot Lee's got that as well. But the finish as well, I'll come back to that. The finish from Elliot Lee was absolutely exquisite last night. Matthew says, a very professional performance last night. I thought we did all the right things, and our class showed. That's an interesting one, and I think that's I 100% agree with that point. But the interesting thing is, and I'll be interested in what you people think of this as well in the chat, because I'm going to say something a little bit controversial. I'll be interested to see what you think, of course. That's why I love the interaction of these live podcast episodes. But what I would say, I don't think we were exceptional last night, whether or not you watched the game or not, or obviously it's very difficult to sort of see the whole of the game when you watch the highlights, for example, or you even listen to it, listen to the game. Maybe I think you probably get a good idea from listening to it, I guess. But I guess from watching the highlights and watching the goals, you don't really get a full sort of consensus of the game. But what I would say is, when you watch the game, and for the people in the chat, and for generally people that didn't watch it, I'll explain to it now. If you did watch the game, and in my opinion, I don't think we were actually extremely good for 90 minutes. I thought the move that we made to create the goals were very, very good, but we did make hard work of it at times. That's my opinion, and I think I think that definitely should be said. I'm not going to go out there and I'm not going to go out and say that we were bad or anything like that, because we won the game 2-0 against a team that were very, very defensive. They sat back. They just lost 5-1 at the weekend. They're not going to come all guns blazing. They haven't got a home set of fans that's going to get behind them. So I wouldn't say that it was a very, very good performance, but what I would say, it's a very, very professional performance, like Matthew said. It's the getting the job done performance. It's one of those where we look back on the season, and if that finishes 0-0, or we don't get what we want from that, or they equalise or whatever, we're going to look back on that game and go, if we were a bit better, if we were more professional, and if we just got in there and, pressed them a little bit more and put that more effort in, we could have got something out of the game last night. Instead, we did do that. We did press very, very well, and we did extremely well as well. And we did, we got the rewards from it. We got the 3 points, which is the most important thing. Tom says, Rangers are a European chasing club, though. Their consistency is a lot higher than ours in this sense. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I think that's a fair point. Rangers are playing at a higher level. They're a Europa League side. I'm not sure whether or not they're still in the Europa League this season, but they are a Europa League side. They're a top-end Scottish side. They're the best team in Scotland this season, 100%. So I get what you mean. Yeah, the consistency is a little bit different, and the ability, of Barker is definitely much different. You've got to be I understand what you're trying to say. The consistency, when you're playing for Rangers week in, week out, yeah, you are going to notice that, because they are playing against a higher level, and you are playing against better opposition. You can be found out a little bit more. But I would say as well, with left wingers, consistent, and not just left wingers, but they're the main ones. When you try, and I don't know if any of you have heard this before, but it is a known fact that wingers are very, very, especially left wingers, are very, very difficult to find consistency. They're in and out of games. They are moment players, I think is the best way of putting it. They bring that spark every now and again. You're never going to find a left winger, maybe when Ronaldo, for example, was playing on left wing week in, week out, earlier in his career. Maybe, but if you even ask any Man United fan back in the day, he was a very, very frustrating player, and generally wingers are very frustrating. Shodipo, I find sometimes very frustrating with what he does. I do find him, slightly frustrating, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes you really sort of hope he's going to do something else, and you hope that he's going to do something else with it, or he makes a better decision at times. They are very frustrating players on the left wingers, because they're not always in the game. They are moment players. When they get the ball, they can do something amazing with it, but then they couldn't touch the ball maybe for an hour of the game. So it's difficult to tell. But from what we're getting at the moment with Brandon Barker, I think we should be really, really happy with it. And I think I am very, very happy with it, because we needed that second goal last night, because that could have gone any way. I don't, we were you could tell as the game went on, we were slowly dropping back, and Swindon, I always use as that example, that absolute horror show disaster where we just kept dropping back. We've learnt from that now, and hopefully we've learnt from it. Touch wood, we've learnt from it, and we won't do it again. dropping back is not the best way. We can't do that. We can't defend with pressure. The best way we've got to go is just go for it. When we're trying to hold out a game, the best thing to do is keep pressing them, keep putting pressure on them, and try and get that second goal, which we did last night. And Brandon Barker did that to perfection. And again, I'll say that again. That Elliott Lee goal was exquisite, and that Brandon Barker goal as well. Was an absolute thunderbolt of a goal. So much power behind it. Very, very impressed. Woke says, would you like to see the defender come in at wing back, the new guy? As in Grayson coming in at right back, because obviously I'm guessing you mean, of course, Sam Long did go off injured. So did James Henry as well, and I think that's something that we are going to speak about. Two players, of course, at Oxford United did go out injured last night. Did come off injured, sorry, should I say? And that was disappointing because I thought Sam Long has been incredible this season. I saw this thing earlier in the day. I saw it online about the actual goal bit, the goal involvements from our defenders and in particular our fullbacks have been unbelievable. I think Ruffles has got 3 goals and 3 assists this season. I think Longy's got 4 assists or something this season or 3 goals. It's very, very similar. Absolutely fantastic. Work says, I think it is that. I think maybe we could see Grayson come on. At right back. Is Anthony Ford going to play right back now? Depending on how long Sam Long's out for, I'll be interested to see. I can just see Ahmed's in the chat. I'll just do I will come to Ahmed's comment. But the next one says, welcome, by the way. Mafia's a good team win. When they play bad, we did that, and that's what good teams are made. 100%, mate. A good team and a team that will be successful, and hopefully will be successful, is a team that can come in, week out, and I will use it all the time. Grind results. So we don't have to win 3 or 4-0 every time, every game. Sometimes you've got to grind a result. You've got to go out of that game going, we didn't play well, but Bristol set up for us to, not get anything from the game. We won 2-0, a professional performance, and I 100% agree with you. Work says, we didn't play great last night, but we got the result. Yeah, very, very similar. Grinding that result out is what we needed to do. Matthew says, reminded me a lot of last season when we picked up points when we played poorly. Yes, and I think that is, again, those 3 comments are very, very similar, and I agree with every single one of them equally. I think the performance last night wasn't very good. I'm going to be honest and say I don't think it was great. The way that we played at times was a little bit sloppy, but what we did do is we grinded out the result. We got the result that we wanted because we stuck by it. We pressed with them. We worked our socks off, and we got the rewards for it, and that's what I love about it. And I was very, very, very impressed and very, very proud at the end of it because we deserved it. We definitely did deserve it. Bristol set up for us basically not to get anything from the game. And the facts are there. We did get something from the game, and we got 3 points. And we're only 3 points away from the playoffs as well. And I'm very, very excited. That's another thing as well. To think where we were at the start of the season, you can go back and watch the episodes of the podcast at the start. I don't think it was just me. A lot of people were really, really worrying. We were questioning the players. We were questioning the manager. And I think understandably, we definitely had the right to do that. But what we're doing now is we've got a unit, we've got a squad together, and it's a really, really positive place to be. Even though we've just lost to Doncaster, obviously on Saturday, I'm not going to take too much. I'm not going to take too much from that because the most important thing is we reacted, we bounced back, we got something from that game. We got a reaction from the players. I think that's the best way of putting it. And to see that in a game we had to grind out, I'm very, very happy with it. I feel we play better against the big teams than against the smaller teams, says Paul Groves. I have to agree with you, and I agree with what you said there, but I'd also say to that, I'd say we actually play against the teams that try and play football. When we come up against teams that don't play football and they just sort of want to either slow the game down with tackles, to try and make the game as sloppy when they try and, because Bristol were trying to play a very, very Route 1 game of football, I've got no problem with that, but it doesn't suit us. It doesn't suit us at all. Long balls over the top for Oxford United, we do sometimes struggle to defend against. And I agree with what Paul said there. But I'd also go and say, not necessarily the big or smaller teams. I think it's actually more the teams that want to try and play football. Teams that try and knock the ball about on the floor, we're quite good because we can actually start pressing them. When they start lobbing balls over the top, we almost sort of sometimes go, boys, they're doing that, so why don't we crack on and start doing it? The answer to that is a very simple and a fat no. We should, let's definitely not start trying to play the way are just because they're lumping the ball forward. What we need to do to that is defend that, of course, but when they've got the ball, press them, try and play football against them. When we try and sort of change our game at the start of the season, we were playing like a team, very, very direct, and Bristol did that last night. And struggling teams, and when they're on bad form, you do naturally resort to playing more direct because you're desperate for points, and that's the thing there. Alex says, Oxford try and get Lionel Messi at the end of the season. He's a free agent. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really say to that. I mean, yeah, 100%, mate. I mean, we definitely should get Messi. I mean, his wage demands don't seem too much. Interestingly, off topic completely, and I know you're completely joking. I mean, you might not be joking. I mean, I think he is on. I think he is the most paid footballer, at Barcelona now. But he is a free agent. I mean, if we think about the teams that he's got options. He's got PSG. He's got Man City. And he's got Oxford. I think he'll definitely. I think we'll know which one he'll be choosing there. I think we think about it. He can play under Pep. He can play under Mauricio Pochettino at PSG, or he can play under Carl Robinson and play with Sam Long at right back. I mean, you think about it. The right wing chemistry between Sam Long and Messi is one to only dream about, really. To 100%. Have you seen the club's tweet / announcement for the 12th of February? I don't know what you mean there, Matthew. I really don't know what you mean there. Hopefully you could... have you seen the club's tweet / announcement for the 12th of Feb? Is it as in Oxford United have tweeted? I'll check if Oxford United have tweeted, my friend. I'm not quite exactly sure what we're talking about there. If you just quickly in the chat, if I don't find it on Twitter, just let me know. We can talk about it if you want. Depending on what it is, obviously, but I don't know what you mean, my friend. I went to Liverpool of League One, better against big teams rather than the smaller teams. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much like that as well, isn't it? It's pretty much like that. I think Liverpool when they played Brighton, and I know this isn't Liverpool, but it's a podcast. We do what we want. When they play against Brighton, when they play against Burnley, these different teams, and they don't know what to do. When they try and play teams that don't play the way that Liverpool want them to play, they struggle, and we've seen that this season, 100%. And Oxford a little bit similar, I'd say. Matthew says, funny you say that. That today, I look back at your older podcast, the mood changes mad. 100%, mate, 100%. If you go back and watch the podcast, I'm not telling you to do it, but if you'd like to, if you've got some free time, and you must be very bored if you want to go back and listen to this podcast from a few months ago, you can definitely tell we've changed the way that we do it. But if you go back, the mood, if you watch the snippet of the coming up bit at the start of our last podcast, oh my, the difference in mood right now, I'm buzzing right now. I'm absolutely loving Oxford United. I'm loving doing the podcast, and I can't wait to do them. I can't wait to do film it. I can't wait to do all this sort of thing. And not like that. I'm not saying I wasn't like that earlier in the season, but it was just so negative. I was just sort of bored, really, of just sort of pumping out podcast episodes. I was just moaning for a half an hour. Now we're getting a little bit different. I mean, I know it's cool because we've got the live stuff, and obviously I still do the other stuff as well. It's one of those things, isn't it? It is one of those things. But yeah, there is a big mood change there, 100%. What has Matt? Someone just sent me. Oxford United apparently have done this. What is it? Is it someone just sent me? What have they tweeted out? Is it a video or something? Is it a video or something like that, my friend? Is it that? I'll definitely go and check that. Matthew said, and then obviously the next one is the tweet. I'll go and double check the tweet right now, people. I'll check what is going on the old Twitter, see what they're saying. What even is it? What is it? It's a video of some sort. What is the actual video all about? Is it just goals this season or something? Is it, what we doing, people? What is it? If someone would like to explain it, because I don't really want to sort of go off and not talk about it. I'd be interested to see what you people. If you tell me what it is, I'm watching the video now. I'm just seeing the goals. If you want to explain what it's all about, is it just the goals this season or what is it? But yeah. We have been very, very good this season, 100%, and we are where we're in the league table as well. And we will come on to the league table. We'll do that now as well. Interestingly, we will speak about it. I'll ask you now. We've got quite a few people in the chat right now. And I love the interaction. And while everyone's here, we'll talk about it. Where do you predict Oxford United will finish come the end of the season? I want to see your predictions. Not, I guess, what you hope, obviously, and what your dream is. I'm talking about realistic predictions. Where do you think it would go? It has a date at the end of the video. 12th of Feb. Is that the date? That's Friday. What's happening Friday, people? What is going on? This is not what I expected, but if we want to have something good, what is going on? It could be like is it specific players or is it everyone? Because it could be like a contract or stadium news, new Ruffles contract. People are saying half season ticket. Pigs might fly. Someone said. Bring back OUFC live. Interesting, people. Interesting. Someone said the 5th. People are saying that it's going to be a new stadium. To be honest with you, boys, anyone that starts saying that it's going to be a new stadium, I know it's definitely what people are saying. I definitely don't think there's going to be a new stadium being built. I really don't think it is. Future star Sam Long, 100%, mate. I think that should be a good one. More like team of the year. We've missed it though, but he should have been in it. Some people are saying new stadium. To be fair, I didn't expect this to come on, but we can talk about it. 12th of February. I mean, if it's a specific player, people, it could be a contract because I've seen a lot of Josh Ruffels contracts being floated about. It might be a Josh Ruffels contract, but what I saw if it is just Josh Ruffels, people, I think we can say that it's probably going to be a Josh Ruffels contract coming out on Friday. But it's very, very interesting. I don't know what it's about. I don't know what it's all about. Give your thoughts what it is. I mean, so it's definitely not a stadium. That would definitely have come out before. I mean, if it is a brand new stadium, then I mean, it doesn't really show that. I can't see that. I can't see it being like that. But yeah, if it's Josh Ruffels, but then I'm seeing here now this is a Shadipo goal. So why would? Oh, it's a Matty Taylor goal. That is confusing, people. I am so surprised. If anyone can tell me whatever people think, there's a lot of different conspiracies about what this video is. Oxford United have just dropped a tweet on tends to be on Twitter when you tweet something, and someone is saying as well, and it's on Instagram as well. Lots of people coming in with some interesting things. The 12th of February is the date that they've put on there. Lots of different conspiracy theories of what it could be. Ruffles' contract seems to be the biggest one. A lot of people are saying we're building a new stand. I think that probably would have come out before. Someone put new socks. Could be a Chinese New Year kit, maybe, mate. Maybe it's something Oxygen would do, just sort of randomly bring out some special kit or some special sock. Kassam, I'm not going to read that out. I was going to read something out and then. What's this going to be? Probs announce a manager of the month or something. New contract. I don't think they can announce a manager of the month because I'm pretty sure that would come out from the EFL anyway. That's really interesting though. The 12th of February, so Friday as well. I mean, if it's something big and interesting, I'll go live for it, and we can have a discuss it. But from what it looks like, it's a lot of Ruffles, but then there's some random bits as well. I mean, that is Ruffles there, so it could be a Ruffles contract. It's the year of the ox on Friday. Okay, it probably is that then, mate. It's probably that, isn't it? Is that going to be it? I mean, it could be. But what happens if it is the year of the fox? What does that mean? We get some cool kit or something? What goes on there if we do? Why do we need a new kit? We got 3 kits anyway. We don't need another one. Interesting. If it is the year of the ox on, then that'll be where it is. Anyway, we've got people in the chat right now. We've got some people coming in the chat. If you'd like to say hello, please say in the chat and please say hello in the live chat as well. Give your thoughts on last night's game. We've sort of been through a bit of it, but we'll go live for a little bit longer because obviously we've got a bit of time. So we've got 9 people in there right now. Please do leave a like if you've just joined and subscribe as well. Matthew says, big game against you lads at the weekend. Good luck, mate. Are you a Wigan fan? I'm guessing you are. I'm guessing you are a Wigan fan, Matthew. Because that is who we've got on the weekend, and I'm very, very excited for it. It's a big game. It's a big game for obviously Wigan as well because they're obviously in a position where they need to get the points and they need to get out of the relegation battle that they're in at the moment. For us, obviously, 3 points would be massive in our sort of ongoing promotion race. Big game against you at the weekend. It is a big game against us at the weekend. And I'm really looking forward to it as well. And I'll be interested to see what you people do because I did stop doing the previews because previews for these sort of games because it's sort of I don't know. The reason with the previews is they didn't really tend to do that well, but that wasn't the main thing. It was more because I thought, because we now do the live stuff, I can interact with you and we can sort of discuss it and that sort of thing. And now while we're live as well, give your thoughts on the Wigan game because we won't have enough time to sort of do that between now and then because I have got a podcast episode that I'm looking forward to bringing out that I've been banging on about for way too long now that people have probably given up about it, but it is still coming out. So there probably won't be a time. So do give your thoughts on the Wigan game coming up this weekend. Because it's a big game. It's a very, very big game. Could be changing us from yellows to red. That'd be hell, wouldn't it? Imagine, I think that would cause slight uproar if we changed our colour to red. Got to go, mate. Quality stream. All love for the podcast. See you later, Matthew. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you very much for your contribution as well, Matthew. I'll see you in a bit. I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you very much for coming into the podcast. But this evening, Tom Merrill says 3-1 win. 3-1 win on Saturday. Is that what we're saying? Wigan are a struggling side this season. It has to be said. I'd be interested if you're still in Matthew, as in Matthew Simpson. If you're still in still in the episode, still in the podcast, which you are, you just commented down below. Mad to think that the run you went on around the bottom at the start, clinching 3 points against us, against pushing to playoffs 2-0, Oxford United. In my opinion, I mean, at least you're being honest. I mean, at least you're not going out there with some crazy Wigan score. But to be fair, I think 2-0 probably. I mean, I'd take 1-0 come off someone's arse. To be honest with you, I don't really care what the score is as long as I get the 3 points. But 2-0, I take that. To be honest with you, Tom Morris is 3-1. I am confident. To be honest, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm not confident. I am very confident. I think we can get something from the game. Woke says 4-0, a tight 1-0. Says Matthew. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting what we go with. And I'm interested what you think as well. Are you going to start Barker? Are you going to start Shodipo? What are you going with the team as well? McGuane's obviously still injured. But it's an interesting question. Is McGuane getting that midfield? Lots of different things. Keep giving your thoughts in the chat as well, and we'll be talking about it. A tight 1-0. Yeah, it is one of those, isn't it? It is one of those. Because Wigan are a team that I think are going to be like Bristol. I don't know what Matthew Simpson says, what he thinks of it, but it is going to be a game where Wigan are probably going to play a little bit deeper. Are probably going to play a little bit further back, and are probably just going to try and stop us from winning the game and scoring goals. Because that's normally how football works. But they are going to try and prevent us from scoring goals by sitting back. I think that's probably probably going to be their game plan going into it, especially being obviously the away team. I think that's probably the best way of doing it. We're on 10 likes as well. So thank you very much, everybody that's liked this stream as well. If you haven't and you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Woke says, I think last night was a harder game than Wigan. To be honest with you, mate, I think I'd have to agree with that. I think it probably will be. I think last night probably was a harder game, and the reason why I think is because, well, we're away, and that makes too much of a difference. But Bristol were a difficult team. Bristol were a very, very difficult team. We only beat them, wasn't it 2-0 at the home game? It was the first stream I think we ever did on the podcast, the first ever live podcast when we played Wigan. When we played Bristol, and they are a team that are difficult. They're not an easy team at all. So yeah, last night was a difficult game, and hopefully Wigan, we can be a little bit more confident, and we can go on and win that comfortably. I wouldn't want it to. I know a lot of people are saying it's going to be tight. Hopefully we can just go there and not go there. They're coming to us, but go at the Casa, and we can we can do the job. And, we get that job done. And I'm going to go 2-0 to be honest with you, 2 or 3-0 if I'm being honest with you. And hopefully that is the case. Bogey team. We don't have a great record against Bristol all the time. And Wigan as well. I mean, Wigan, we don't have a great team, great record against either. I remember Wigan. I don't know if this shirt here, interestingly. Well, why don't we just talk about it? So this game here is actually a Wigan Athletic shirt, and it was the game the 23rd of December 2017. If any of you can remember the score when Oxford played Wigan in Oxford United versus Wigan Athletic on the 23rd of December 2017, if you give me the score for that game, I was actually in the box watching that game, and I got this signed shirt that's obviously in like the back of this sort of like studio thing of the podcast. I put it up on the wall. It's like fully framed in that. But if any of you can find out the score when Oxford United play it again, don't leave the stream. Open another tab. But yeah, definitely tell me the score on the 23rd of December 2017 when Oxford United played Wigan. If you can tell me the score, I will. I probably won't do anything, but I'll just sort of read out and tell you got it right. Really, I can see someone's already got it. I'm pretty sure. In fact, I've got to double check the score myself, but I'm pretty sure it is what Matthew said. Yeah, 7-0. Pretty sure it was 7-0. It was one of the worst games. I'm pretty sure Will Grigg scored 4 goals in that game as well, which is just embarrassing anyway. But that was awful. Matthew says we're often good against teams higher in the table. Got 3 points from the likes of Sunderland, Doncaster, Portsmouth, and Accrington Stanley. Have you, mate? I know you have. I know you've got some big points against the top teams this season, but you have recently lost to Wimbledon, wasn't it? 3-2 at home, which isn't ideal for you because going into this game. You got. Is that your last game? Did you play last night? I probably definitely just did the research. To be honest with you, I didn't really plan on doing sort of like a Wigan preview and the same thing. I didn't really plan on having a Wigan fan come in, but why not? Why not? You in your last game, you played yesterday. You beat Northampton, so yeah. That's a big win. That is a big win, and that's not a good result for Northampton by any means. But you're coming into this with a win as well. It's not going to be easy. I wouldn't go out and say it's going to be 4-0. And I'd say 2 or 3-0. I think we will win, Matthew. But I think you're right. You have got a good record. You are right. But I think you are right in saying I don't think it's going to be a thumping, and I do agree that you are getting some really good points to get some top end side this season, and I think that's what we got to be wary about, because I think the reason for that is I think Wigan are playing. They are a team that are going to turn up and can turn up and do you over, really. So I hopefully do believe that isn't going to happen on Saturday. But we've got to expect it, and we've got to prepare that it is going to happen. We can't really go into a game thinking it's not going to happen, and hoping it doesn't. We've got to go into the game being at our best, and we weren't at our best against Bristol. We've got to be on Saturday playing against Wigan. If we are to get the 3 points, and the all-important 3 points as well, to get us into the position where we want to be, and that is in the playoffs. I don't actually think we can get into the playoffs on Saturday. I think we can, but a lot of results are going to have to go away anyway. But these 3 points are massive, because there's teams that are dropping points. You see the Doncaster lost yesterday 3-1 against someone. They did lose 3-1 though. Teams are dropping points around us, so it is important that we keep winning. We keep grinding the results out. Which is something we've got to do if we are to get into the playoffs. We've got to we can't rely on teams around us. We've just got to keep doing what we can do, going into games and winning them, and and hoping teams around us help us out, and hopefully that is the case on Saturday, and we do get those 3 points. Woke says they hammered us 7-0, I think. 7-0. Yeah, it was 7-0. Our defence was terrified. We were more than terrified, Tom. We were more than terrified. I think we pretty much stopped playing after about 20 minutes. It got to the point where the referee gave us a free kick wrongly, and the managers of Wigan actually told the Wigan players, to kick it out for our throw. They actually felt bad for us when I think we were about 4-0 down after about, I wouldn't want to say because it was so long ago. It was about 4 years ago. But it got to the point where decisions weren't going our way by the ref, and they were just kicking it out. They just started kicking it out because they felt bad that we didn't get a decision, and the ref blatantly gave the wrong decisions. If that happened on Saturday, the last thing I think Wigan, if it was 0-0 or 1-0, there is not a chance on earth any manager of an opposition is literally telling your own players to start kicking it out. It's just not going to happen, is it? But they felt bad for us, so we can only it was a nice thing, but looking back, they literally were blatantly taking the piss. Matthew says 1-0 against Northampton last night, but we are inconsistent from 3 points against big teams to 5-0 losses against Rochdale, Blackpool. Yeah, your consistency is one, is a problem. Just from those results there, consistency is a problem. And to be fair, what we've done is we've actually found consistency. We were consistently bad at the start of the season, and we're now consistently, getting results and getting the points on the board. So. Yeah, I understand what you mean. But we did also find that at the start of the season, we were sort of a little bit inconsistent. We didn't win games and then take the momentum into the next games. And for me, that as a football fan, that is one of the most frustrating things in the world. Well, not in the world. There are more frustrating things than that. You can name a few. But, when you sort of go and you go out of the game and you go, that was a great win, boys. Let's take the momentum into the next game. And then you just don't. It's just as a football fan, it's so annoying, because you're like, we've worked our socks off to get a result. We've worked our socks off to get these points. We've done so well. And then in the next game, we've just sort of forgotten that we did it. We just sort of go in. It's literally we go into games, we do well, and then we sort of get hypnotised in training for the next game. We just sort of forget. It's we get hypnotised into thinking we haven't played a game, and then we don't take anything to the next game. That is one of the most frustrating things. So when you do find the consistency, it's really, really good, and it's really, really helpful. Matthew Wilson says both Wigan and Oxford just sacked their opposition manager, to be fair. Both Wigan and Oxford just sacked their opposition's manager. What do you mean by that? Both Wigan and Oxford just sacked their opposition manager, to be fair. Is that what now, or just sacked their opposition manager? As in, what do you mean by that, mate? I definitely understand. I definitely don't. I was gonna say I definitely understand. I don't. But what do you mean by that, mate? What do you mean by that? I'm sure it's definitely me being reading this completely wrong. But yeah, if you just quickly do that, we will talk about it if you could explain that really quickly. Thank you, I do appreciate it. Tom says, what's the league looking like? Well, Tom, if I was really prepared and I thought that we were going to get into a real discussion, which I probably should prepare every time we go live, I would have a graphic where I could bring the league table up. But if I'm being honest with you, I don't. So, I mean, I'll quickly find it if you want. I mean, yeah, why not? We'll just bring it up now. We'll just bring it up. Hang one sec, boys. We'll just bring the league table up now. By the way, in the FA Cup, Manchester City are beating Swansea 3-0. So, yeah, that's a shame. They're getting absolutely thumped there. Bristol. Oh, right. I completely understand what you mean, mate. Who is it that said it? Matthew Wilson. I 100% got you, see. 100% just understand what you mean. Bristol Rovers have just sacked Tisdale, and Northampton manager's just been sacked as well from those games. Great point, mate. Great point. I now know exactly what you mean, and it was me being completely special and not knowing what you meant because I basically didn't know exactly what you're talking about. But I now do. Thank you very much for that. I know what you mean now. Our team overall can probably get to mid-table, just gelling and getting consistent. When we play a 5-back, which I think we will at the weekend, could make it a tighter game. 100%, mate. And it is about how you set up, isn't it? It's about how you approach this game, how you look at this game. And, I don't know too much about your manager. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about Wigan Athletic. But what I do know is that looking at where you are in the league table at the moment, it is going to be it is going to be important for you that you set up in a way that basically just stops us and counters us from playing the way that we want to play. It's not something I want to see. It's definitely not something I don't think any Oxford United fan's going to want to see. But it is about how you set up. If you do play with that 5-back, is that going to stop us from playing the way it's going to, stopping the way from the way that where we want to play? Maybe, it might. It's definitely when you put more defenders back there, it is going to be more difficult to break us down, and it is going to take more quality to break your 5-back down. But again, it's how you play that 5-back. If you're playing a straight 5-back, which isn't sort of the normal thing to do. A lot of teams now, when we say 5-back, it pretty much is a 3-back, just with some I guess wing backs. But no, it is about how you set up, and hopefully Oxford United do have enough to break you down, whichever formation you play, whether that is a 4 or a 5-back formation. So let's quickly get the league table up as requested. I definitely should have prepared, but I haven't. So I will just quickly bring it up now. Hopefully I don't break the stream while trying to put this up. I shouldn't do. I should be okay. Should be fine. Let's bring it up now. Take it from there. Top of the table, of course, at the moment are Lincoln City. I'll bring the league table up so you can see. Wigan Athletic, to be fair, you're not in an awful position. You're definitely in reach of definitely staying up this season. And when I did my predictions, if you go up to the predictions video I did, I put you mid-table, and I saw a lot of fans being like, Jack, you're like, there's no way we're going to finish mid-table. You're going to be we are going to be getting relegated this season. To be fair, like you've said, you've got some really big points against these other teams. So I think that's that's the big thing. You are getting the results against the top teams, and I think that's the important thing. I will quickly add something here now. Hopefully the stream sort of just does stay alive while I do this. Hopefully it is. Hopefully I don't break it. I am just quickly trying to get the league table up onto the screen. League table 2. Bang. Here it is. Is it on the screen now? Just put 4 in the chat. Why not 4? Actually, no. Where are we in the league table exactly? 9. Just put 9 in the chat. If that is on the screen, it should be on the screen. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. I'm not sure if you can exactly see that very, very well. I mean, on my screen I can't fully see it, but hopefully you can. That's the current league table. That's the league table that we've got. I'm just going to quickly see now. Yeah, I mean, I can see it there, so hopefully you can. But that's the current league table as it stands in League One as of today. There's no games being played tonight. So, yeah, that's the league table tonight as of today, after, obviously, yesterday's game. So, Oxford United are currently in 9th. We're currently... I literally cannot read it through the stream, so I'm going to have to quickly bring it up here. Obviously, we are currently 9th in the league table. We're 3 points outside of the playoffs. I mean, when you think about where we were, where we were at the start of the season, we were so low down. And now we're in reach, really. We are in reach. And, there is a bit of a gap between Charlton and Doncaster. There is a real gap there. But, I don't care where we finish in the playoffs. Getting into the playoffs is the main thing. And, it's something that we definitely can do if we keep getting the results and we keep playing the way that we know we can play. As you can see, Wigan as well at 24th. Bristol, like Matthew said at the start of this, just said there in the stream, they've just sacked their manager. They're in that scrap as well. But I think sometimes sacking a manager, interesting. Sacking a manager isn't always the best way of solving it, really, because think about it now. They are, unless they have a replacement, they're just going to quit. They're going to get in straight away. For teams like the likes of Wigan. Yeah, they have got an edge now because they've got a manager. Yes, they are a little bit inconsistent, but they are coming off a very, very good win against Northampton, and we're also down there. And when you're in a relegation battle, and I think that's the way it is. I think Matthew Simpson can say it himself. I think Wigan are in a relegation battle. You've just got to beat the teams down there with you. You're not going to be starting to think about going up or anything like that. Staying up's the priority. And if you're beating the teams around you, I think that's the main thing. You did lose to Wimbledon, but then you're beating, Northampton as well. Bristol are a little bit struggling as well. It's so difficult to cause the playoffs because of COVID and the games not being played. Yeah, it is very, very difficult to do that. If you look at the games played now, you look at on the screen, we've played 25 games this season, but Charlton have played 23. There's a 3-point gap in between us. But there's 2 games in hand. So with our games in hand and other results going our way, we could even be at higher than 6th. So it's really, really difficult to judge and so difficult to predict. And it is really tight. I think Lincoln are going to win the league. I'm going to pretty much go out there and say, I think if I'm going to predict it, I think Lincoln or Hull will win the league, even though it is quite tight. I think Lincoln will probably go and win it. But those playoffs, there's so much quality in this league. You think Oxford, for us, we want to be in the playoffs. I think we do have the quality to do that. You look at teams like Charlton as well. They want to get back in the Championship. Doncaster having a great season. They deserve to be in there. Portsmouth are always trying to get out of this league. Peterborough as well have been very, very good for the last few years and going to get in the Championship, obviously. Hull want to get back in the league. Lincoln have been great this season. All the teams in there and in around that area, it's so difficult to sort of decide, and it's so difficult to predict. Like Tom says, Matthew says, sorry to put a negative mood, but I can't see us climbing the table with our next few run of games. We have got difficult games. We've got Wigan, obviously, on Saturday, like we said. We've then got the semi-final as well, which I will do a match reaction for, I'm pretty sure. We have got a Tuesday game, an EFL trophy, or whatever it's called. What is it? The Papa John's Trophy semi-final on Tuesday. I think that's an interesting one. I haven't done a lot of coverage on the podcast surrounding that, but I think I might for that game because not sounding too much for a glory hunter. I do like it when we get further in these competitions. I prefer it when we get into further I prefer being in the Carabao Cup, but I prefer the FA Cup really. But now we are in the semi-final. It is one of those things where you sort of do go, hang about, boys. We could actually be going to Wembley here when we literally physically probably won't be, but Oxford could be. So, we probably will do a match reaction. We will be talking about that as well. But that's on Tuesday. And then we've got Ipswich as well at home, which is a very, very difficult game as well. They're up there. Well, they're not up there. They're 11th, but they're in and around the area. And then we've got Portsmouth, obviously, at home as well, which is always a very, very difficult game. So, we've got tough games. Wigan at home, obviously the cup, but we'll sort of forget about that in terms of the league. We've got Wigan at home, Ipswich away, and then Portsmouth at home as well. It's one of those, and like Matthew says, I don't think you are putting a negative spin and a negative mood on it. I think you're being honest, to be honest. I think you're being honest. I think the situation is, if we go and do very, very well against Ipswich and win the game, or if we, can go and beat Ipswich, if we can go and get something out of Portsmouth, preferably a win, you're thinking, boys, this is a really, really good season. I think we can get something really positive out of it. But if we don't get anything from those games, which won't be easy, I'm not going to pretend like it's going to be easy. It's going to be very, very difficult to get something out of these next few games. Who knows? Kaja says, yo, man, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream, Kaja. How are you doing? Did you watch the late game last night? Interested to see what you think. We've been speaking about it a lot. It's quite been a long one. To be honest with you, boys, I must say, or girls, I must say thank you very much for the interaction, because I'm not going to lie. I don't want to make it too cheesy. I don't want to make it too soppy. But to be honest with you, this last week, I don't know if it's for you, just me, or it probably is just me, but for a lot of people as well, it's been quite I've been a little bit, not down, and I'm not going to say anything, reckless, I'm not saying that bad, but it has been a bit of a down sort of week. It's been a bit, lockdown and the whole COVID thing. I think the best thing that we can all do in this situation is just come on here or do whatever, watch some football, talk about football, and if you are having a bit of a bad day, if you're having a bit of a bad week, like we all will during these pretty uncertain times, talking about football, watching football is definitely the best way of doing it. And it's not ideal, But talking about football and just chatting on here is the best way to do it. And that's what I love doing. Chatting to you people, interacting with you in the podcast, filming podcast episodes, but these live ones as well especially, I do love doing. And it's a big thing. It's a big thing, and I thank you all for that, because without you, really, without anyone coming in the stream, without you coming in and interacting, it wouldn't be too much of a podcast episode, would it? If you think about it, not too many people. It wouldn't, be too much of a successful podcast episode if no one came in and spoke. It'd be pretty dull. So I do thank you for that. And the interaction today's been great. We've had some Wigan, we've had a Wigan fan come in. We've had, obviously, like you said, we've had lots of different fans of different clubs. I've got lots of Oxford fans obviously coming in. Just so bored, it's like, like Grant or Day of Late. Mate, it is one of those things, isn't it? You are stuck inside. It's so difficult. It is a little bit, it is difficult times. It's a pretty rubbish time to be out, but at least, to be honest with you, and hopefully you are as well, we're staying safe. We're all pretty healthy, or as healthy as we can be. We're all sort of staying safe in these sort of things. I don't want to get too involved and not talk too much about it, but, coming on here, chatting about football, chatting about Oxford, and anything football related really on the podcast. It's brilliant. I am really, really enjoying it. And, thank you everybody for the interaction today. It's been fantastic. It's been quite a long one as well. 55 minutes today, coming up to 56 minutes now. It's been a long podcast episode. But one I've really, really, really enjoyed. And I thank you all so much for the interaction. Everyone that's coming in as well. We've had a lot of people coming in and chatting tonight, or this evening, should I say. And, I've loved every minute of it. So thank you everybody that's come in. It's been brilliant. We've had a lot of people come in. We've chatted a lot, and we've had a great time. So thank you very much, everybody that's been involved tonight. Thank you if you're watching this, of course, if there's a video of the podcast as well. Thank you very much. I've loved it. It's been great fun live as well. But if you are watching it as a video, thank you very much for watching. If you're watching 55 minutes in as a video, first of all, you're committed to the cause. But thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Do leave a like as well. We've got 10 likes, I think it is at the moment, and it's been brilliant. So thank you very much for everyone that's been involved tonight. Thank you very much everyone that's got in, got involved in the chat and watched as well. Please do like if you haven't already. Liking helps the podcast growth, and subscribing as well would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for the interaction, people. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Thanks. Keep it up, mate. Thank you very much for coming in. I do appreciate it. Matthew says cheers, mate. Last few comments coming in now. Thank you very much, everybody, and I'll see you in a bit. Stay safe, stay healthy, stick to the rules and all that sort of thing. I don't want to go into so much, don't want to turn into Boris for the end, but stay safe, all that sort of thing, and I'll see you probably, the next live one probably will be Saturday. There probably, I don't want to make too many promises, but hopefully there will be a podcast episode, sort of an actual episode of the podcast recorded. I've just got to edit it now. A really, really exciting one, sort of not just Oxford related, whole League One related, coming out this week sometime. We are already Wednesday, so it probably won't be out tomorrow. It might be out tomorrow or Friday, but I will see you all live on Saturday. So thank you very much, everybody. 12 likes as well. Thank you everyone that's liked it. Thank you everyone that's been involved, and I'll see you later. See you in a bit, people. Stay safe. See you in a bit.